Hello, loves. Hello, hello. Hills here from the blue flame. Whew. Let's breathe for a few moments in this final ticklings of Libra season, inviting us to calibrate and balance. I'm recording this on the threshold of the Arcturus gateway, the day before the peak of that energy, and bringing us into connection with that which we will emerge into, which is the Libra New Moon. New moons take us into the void. They carry us into that black ray introspective energy and invite us to emerge, to rebirth once again. This particular Libra new moon is occurring just before the sun shifts signs into Scorpio, that deep groundwater sign, that sign of transformation and of the All Hallows Eve, of Samhain, of Dia de los Muertos, and that moment when the Pleiades, the seven sisters, reached their pinnacle, their highest point in our night sky. This Scorpio season is quite unveiling. There's a lot going on. So as we come into this Libra new moon, it feels important to shed light, to cast light, to weave through how we're emerging into that. You see, we have this Arcturus gateway, this energy where the sun conjuncts the way station Arcturus. And this occurs every year from about the 15th of October until about the 18th, maybe the 19th of October. And by the time we get to the 19th, we find the sun now at 26 degrees of Libra, moving out of the energy. As I said, right now we're on the threshold at this moment of recording, which is on the 16th of October. We are coming through the gateway. As we emerge onto the other side of this gateway on the 19th and come to that October 21st new moon, we come into the new. We move through this gate into the phase of the dark moon, the night sky, the deepest dark, right? That point where we feel that energy. It is always darkest before the dawn. And this particular new moon, we come out of the Arcturus gate, we cross the threshold, come to the porthole, emerge on the other side to find the moon and the sun just getting ready to make their conjunction, bringing us really into contact with that void. A way to feel into this energetically would be not that moment when your soul in body form emerges from the birth canal, but rather that moment when your soul connects with the fetal form of you in the womb. It is not that bright light of coming into your earthly existence in that embodied way, but rather coming into the sanctuary of the womb space. Now, not all of us had super safe, secure feeling birth spaces. And one of the really lovely things about the Arcturian Gateway is that it does give us an opportunity to touch in with our birthing story and rewrite it if that is necessary for us. Come into a rebirthing sort of energy. And this new moon offers that as well. Let's get into some of the energies, astrology-wise, of this Libra new moon. It's occurring at 28 degrees of Libra, sun and moon both. And it's making this really lovely grand air trine. It is in trine to our North Star, Polaris, the current North Star anyways, Polaris, which sits in our heavens right now at 28 degrees of Gemini. Now, of course, precession of the seasons, even fixed stars move. But for this moment, we are experiencing that North Star Polaris at 28 degrees of Gemini. So feel this birthing moment, this emergence moment as the sun and the moon meet at 28 degrees of Libra. They connect with where we are going, a directional marker, so that when we come into the other side, as the moon begins to pull away and that real birthing into the new that is so quintessential of the new moon occurs, we have a directional, we have a guide. We can feel where we're going. We have a marker. Now, I said this is a grand air trine, and that is because the retrograde Yeshua asteroid, Yeshua, one of the names of Jesus, Isa being another, is at 28 degrees of Aquarius, and the retrograde Persephone is at 26 degrees. So we have these morning star energies, these light bringer energies, and those depths energies. Persephone represents for us both the dawn and the dusk, the underworld journey and the springtime. Okay, it is maiden, mother, and crowned energy. Now, in this Aquarian conjunction with Yeshua, the way Persephone is presenting is coming through all of the ordeals, and getting ready to re-emerge into the springtime. However, the season that we are coming into, this Scorpio Sagittarius season, has a lot of intensity in it, which means that we have this balancing opportunity. We remember, and those of us in the Northern Hemisphere are entering fall. We are entering, in a couple months, winter. We can feel that foothold of the depths of Scorpio season already coming in. And when we remember that at this moment, the seven sisters are climbing into their highest point in the heavens, we can start to feel how interwoven and interconnected these seemingly as above, so below separate fields are within our being. And it's that balance that this Libra new moon is offering, coming into a greater reconciliation with all of the aspects of our being. Air trines and the air signs are very connected to our consciousness and to our mental plane. So a lot of this is going to be about how we perceive what is occurring around us and within us. How are we perceiving? How are we talking about? How are we thinking about what is happening within and all around us. And these ideas of separation or fear that might be quite loud as we come into those Halloween days. The sun and moon will also be making a T-square with the Hathors at 29 degree of Cancer. We've talked a lot about the Hathors here in the blue flame. They are that interdimensional energy of kind of Kuan Yin frequency. Let's say Kuan Yin frequency. There is compassion, there is love, there is space held without interference, allowing us to experience what we need to experience indiscriminately, unjudgingly, with love, guiding, shining light, but not dictating what we should or should not be doing in any moment. Allowing us to feel what we need to feel. And here's that Cancerian energy that the Hathors are connecting to. And it's that end degree, that last degree of Cancer, 29. Now, over at 24 of Cancer, getting ready for its retrograde journey, Jupiter is also part of this square. And it's T because Jupiter during this new moon will be exactly square to Chiron retrograde and directly across the wheel from Arcturus. Now, Chiron entered this 24th degree of Aries the day that we entered the threshold of the gateway of Arcturus on the 15th and will remain there through this new moon. As this occurs, Jupiter expands our access, heightens our ability to connect with the gifts within the wounds. It penetrates deeper as we come through that black moon phase, giving us greater ability to connect with anything that tells us, within or without, that we do not belong, that we are not enough, so that we can witness and, where necessary, release those beliefs. Remember again that we have, during this Libra new moon, a very mentally stimulating air grand trine. So a lot of the energies that we will be navigating are in that mental plane. And the invitation is to bring those thoughts into connection with the heart. Bring those thoughts into connection with the heart. Now, how do we do that? We can breathe into our heart space. We can bring all of our mental focus into our heart space with that breath and invite those thoughts, those judgments, those perceptions, those judgments about ourselves and about others, about the world around us, to release their clenched fists within our minds, those cycles and circles that they spin out, when we say, oh, my head's really spinning out right now. We take that circle, that spin, and we redirect it into the heart space. And through that, then when we exhale from the heart space, we can release. You feel that? Eris at 25 degrees retrograde in Aries is also part of this T-square, really linking us into that creative energy and to all of those injustices to those places where we get locked in a cycle of thinking because we feel deeply that we have been wronged in some way. Now, it is important to allow that victim to take the stage, to be felt, to be seen, to be witnessed. It is important for our healing to understand that part of us, to hold with loving attention that part of us that has been mistreated. Only through that can we come to the other side of that mistreatment. It is through our recognition of those feelings that we recover from the trauma that we experienced. It's fundamental to trauma recovery to allow that victim part of us to be expressed. However, some of us get a little bit locked into that victim place. And part of what we are navigating in this energy is the breaking of that cycle, right? There's that saying, hurt people, right? So if we allow that part of us that was hurt to understand, to be understood, to be witnessed, to be held, to be sold, you belong. You're safe now. I've got you. All of a sudden, and often more quickly than we think it will happen, we're able to let out that breath and not continue the cycle. So this is part of the Eris energy. And when we feel that Eris Chiron movement, and we feel Chiron's gifted wound, we start to feel what we're talking about here, right? We go into the wound. We allow all that we need to be in experience of in there. And we find our gifts, right? I heard this thing said the other day in a show that I was watching, and it just came in now, so I'm going to share it. It was a mother and daughter talking, and the mother had experienced sexual trauma when she was a little girl. And the daughter said, "Do you think that that's why you're so strong?" And the mother, I get chills even thinking about this, even remembering it now, says, "Hell no. Hell no. If I didn't have to put up with all that BS when I was a kid, I would be so much stronger than I am now. I could be the president." And my sense is that this is coming in because we have for so long in this human cycle believed that trauma, that which kills us, makes us, which does not kill us, makes us stronger. We have all of these beliefs around we struggle in order to prove our mettle, in order to get ourselves toughened up for the fight ahead. And the cycle that we're in now is letting go of all that BS. It is not necessary for you to go through the fire and be tested with trauma in order to be strong, in order to be all that you can be. Those of us who have already experienced it, of course, are shifting. Part of what we're doing here, and this is blue flame, this is blue flame energy. The blue flame is transmutational. And when you think of what the blue flame does, it is the cleanest burning. It pulls everything into it. It eats it all and it burns the cleanest. And so when we connect with the blue flame, what we're connecting with, and when we are blue flame or blue ray star seeds, when we are here as part of the blue flame collective, we are here to transmute and pull out the oldest, the most rigid, the most stuck, the most traumatic of those conceits, of the lineage and the idea of suffering makes you stronger, right? We are here to circle that square. We're here to circle that square and say, clear it up, clean it up. Part of that means that most of us incarnated into some pretty intense ancestral and soul lineage energies because we're here to clean that up. Now, there's another piece that I feel really strongly we should talk about with this Libra new moon, and that is Mars and Mercury will be exactly conjunct at 20 degrees of Scorpio. This has felt to me like a very, very, very potent indicator of the where we're going. When we remember, when we touch forward and remember that Mars and Mercury are going to be traveling together now for most of Scorpio season. Mercury will head into Sagittarius before Mars does, and then turn around on the 8th of November, and they will meet up again on the 11/11, thereabouts, the 11/11 portal, the same time that Jupiter turns around as well in Cancer. So Mars, drive, purpose, I am power, power, I am power, I am powerful. In the ground waters, in those deep waters of Scorpio, with Mercury now coming in, helping to relay the messages, helping to relay the messages. Now, in addition to Mars and Mercury, who are exactly conjunct on this new moon, we have Black Moon Lilith at 23 degrees of Scorpio and the Rose Dragons at 24. Black Moon Lilith, primordial feminine. The denied feminine. The subjugated feminine? No, not Black Moon Lilith. Black Moon Lilith rises like the serpent. The Rose Dragons, empowered compassion, detached service, helping us to connect with that same self energy of the Hathors and Jupiter in Cancer. And just so happens to be trine to them. It is a grand water trine, in fact, because Saturn retrograde in Pisces is at 26 degrees. So we have the Hathors and Jupiter playing with the sun and the moon in square. We have the Hathors and Jupiter playing in trine with Mars and Mercury, Black Moon Lilith, and the Rose Dragons. We are learning how to feel, how to flow with our feelings. We are reconnecting the heart mind, the illuminated mind, the mind that is not separate from the heart, but part and parcel. There is a technology that is emerging as we elevate our consciousness, and it's called the Venus Point, and it's one of the technologies that we work with in the Blue Flame portal. It is a bridge between the vagus nerve and the amygdala, and the Hathors and the rose dragons are intimately connected with the energies of this point. And what this point does is help us to reconnect. Now remember, the amygdala is our fear center. The vagus nerve is that nervous system center that digests. It controls our digestion, as well as most of the other faculties of our nervous system. It helps us to digest our fears. The Venus point is helping to reroute that. So rather than coming into panic attack where it's cycling through our minds over and over and over and over again, and it's clenched and we can't seem to get it released, or it gets stuck in our digestive tract. And remember, Scorpio is connected to our intestinal tract and to slow-moving digestion. It's the groundwater. It's the fixed water. It moves, it sludges, it can get a little bit gunky sometimes, right? But this is necessary. We need to connect in with that slow moving in order to clear the pipes. In order to clear the pipes. So the Venus point, nestled right there in between the amygdala and the vagus nerve, comes in and helps to rewire and reconnect the threads that got a little frayed from disuse, so that rather than cycling something through our mental plane over and over and over again, or trying to digest that slow intestinal way all of our emotions, we can bring those deep fears, those traumas, those pains, those thoughts into our heart space. And through that loving attention, allowed them voice, release, love, love. Kind of like a platform, like that beautiful platform that we stand on inside the Merkaba for our interdimensional travel. There is also, during this new moon, a mutable Grand Cross during this new moon. We have Anubis, guardian guide to the underworld, guardian guide to the Akashic records, stationing retrograde at 22 degrees of Gemini on the day of this new moon. Almost exactly as the new moon peaks, Anubis starts turning around and going the other direction, retreading the ground covered already in Gemini. Anubis and Thoth, Mercury, Hermes, the ruler of Gemini, are very connected as guides. In Egyptian culture, Thoth and Anubis work together to help the soul move and transition from the land of the dead into the land of the gods. So, as Anubis, on the day of this new moon, turns around at 22 degrees of Gemini, it does so directly across the wheel from Medusa. We're just about directly. And we have this beautiful grouping of energies in Sagittarius during this new moon, which starts with the great attractor at 15 degrees, moves into Sophia at 17, exactly conjunct Vesta, that gnosis and that flame, our ignited passions, remembering our wholeness, the Vestal Virgins. Medusa at 20 degrees, and then we have some energies connecting us in to the galactic center at 27 and Shiva at 28. So let's play for a minute. We have Anubis at 22 working with Medusa. We have the South Node at 15, 17, depending on true or mean, of Virgo. We have the North Node, 15, 17, of Pisces. And they are exactly squaring Sophia and Vesta. Exactly squaring. Now, a mutable cross indicates, it helps us remember all seasons end. And we come to the end and we walk through the door and we come into the new season. Each one marking the end of a season. We move from the mutable to the cardinal. We begin again. The Virgo Pisces nodal axis in this mutable energy in this year of transformation is connecting us into that truth. And remember, Vesta is the Vestal Virgins, connecting us to the South Node in Virgo. And Sophia is that gnosis, that wisdom. There is a lot of connection between Sophia and the sign of Gnosis, Pisces, where the North Node is. And then we remember that this new moon is trine the North Star. Remember that this new moon is trine the North Star. And everything that we are shifting, everything that we are connecting to, all of the energies of this new moon are inviting us to connect with the re-emergence into a new cycle. Into a new cycle. Now, a fun fact, highlighting even more that we're coming into a new cycle, is that from this new moon on, every new moon for the rest of 2025 will be at 28 degrees of its sign, and every full moon, beginning with the November 5th Taurus supermoon, will be at 13 degrees of its sign. This new moon is pointing over and over and over again. We are ending a cycle. We are coming into a new. We cross through the Arcturus gate. We come to the other side. We start a new cycle. We start a new cycle. We begin again. Some of this will likely be felt in some timeline sort of convergence energy. And then we remember that there are 3 comets passing by the sun as we move into Samhain, All Hallows Eve, and that first week of November, last week of October. I said that there was an energy connecting us into Shiva and the galactic center as well, and that is that the asteroid Isa, we already had Yeshua, now we have Isa, is at 28 degrees of Virgo. So here we can feel how that teacher energy, which is so also connected to Sagittarius, is connecting us to the galactic center and to that foundational divine masculine energy that Shiva and Yeshua represent, to Christ consciousness. And all of this is a reminder, a remembering, a tickling to our senses that we are elevating our consciousness and we are bringing more light into our embodiment. And this is what it means to become the true human. This is what it means to activate the light body. This is what enlightenment means. And this capacity of bringing the mind and heart into coherence is a foundational aspect of the journey. We feel here. As we move through this Libra new moon and into the cycle that it's beginning, we are likely to hit some bumps in the road. And the practice that was shared earlier in this update, that beautiful breath work, connecting with a spiraling thought and carrying it with all of your attention and all of your focus into your heart, allowing your breath to be the guide, can be a really, really, really powerful way to recenter, to recalibrate your nervous system as we move through this energetically. I do have a Venus point transmission and activation, and for the Libra new moon, I think I'm being guided to make it available for all of us. So come on over to Circle. There will be a link below, and you will find the transmission and activation there for you. And I think that's where we leave for today. With so much and many loves, as always, in the always, in the dimensions of the all and beyond the beyond. Thank you.